Go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Missouri ACAC Show Me My Future College Exploration. We're so glad that you're with us and glad we're able to put these events on. Just a couple of things before we turn it over to the presenters and get going here. The way to interact with the presenters here and to ask questions is to use the Q&A button. That's the chat has been disabled for this, but you can use Q&A and the presenters will be able to see that and will be able to respond to your questions. So that if you do have questions, that's the feature you want to use, that Q&A button. So your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. Also, don't forget to sign up for other sessions at moacac.org. And then this session, as well as others, will be available on the MOACAC website probably in the next day or so, and you can check that out in other recordings. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the panelists, and they will take it away.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. We're super excited to have you here today. So we are here to talk to you about location. What does that mean for your college experience and how that can affect your choice of what college you go to and the location it is in can kind of shape your education. So we have presenters from all 4 UM system campuses here. My name is Janie Stevens. I'm Assistant Director of Recruitment at UMKC. We have Aaron Cook from Mizzou. We've got Tyler Johnson from Missouri S&T, and we've got David Wood from UMSL. So we're all super excited to talk to you today. We'll each give a quick rundown of our locations and what our locations have to offer. So please send us questions in the chat. We'll try to answer some of them throughout. We'll have a lot of room for question and answer at the end. So we'll answer your questions live. And if there's any super specific questions to one of our universities or questions that we just aren't able to get to in our live portion, we will make sure that we follow up with you. They're going to send us all your names and your questions, so we can definitely get followed up with you after this presentation if you don't get your question answered live. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand over to Aaron to get us started.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I have to begin by saying this is my 16th year in higher education and recruitment and retention, and I am so passionate about working for the UM system, or one of the campuses of the UM system. I think it's an amazing opportunity to be on one of 4 campuses that services every citizen of the state of Missouri. You're going to hear about 4 distinct cities or towns tonight, and also 4 distinct campuses, and I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. So again, very passionate about this, so thanks for being with us tonight. So to start with Mizzou, or University of Missouri, we are located in Columbia, or we refer to it as Como. If you're not familiar with Columbia, Missouri, it is in the middle of the middle. That's what our football commercial says. So we are literally located in the middle of the state, in the middle of the country, right off of I-70. So connecting between Kansas City and St. Louis, depending on which direction you go. It is right in the middle of the state, so that is where we are located. You can see there are some listings that will rate our college town as one of the top 25 in the country to live in. Quintessential college-sized town, 116,000 people. It does grow, I guess, double that homecoming weekend, which is an exciting weekend in our city or town. And here's an aerial of downtown. So this is what we call the district, or downtown Columbia. You can see there's no skyscrapers, there's no skyline. The tallest building is 8 stories, but it's very vibrant. It's electric downtown. You're going to see lots of flower shops and coffee shops and movie houses and music venues and locally owned restaurants. And our students really come to love living in Columbia as a Mizzou Tiger. I love when I see alums come back as recent alums, and they will come back for homecoming or a different event, and they will naturally gravitate towards their favorite eatery or locally owned business, which I think is really awesome. 2 distinct festivals that we have in our college town. We are the host of Roots Blues and Barbecue. Typically happens every September on an away football weekend. There are several concert stages. There is a barbecue competition. There is a half marathon. There is a little bit of something for everyone. And then late winter, early spring, we host True False Film Fest, which is the country's largest documentary film fest. Cool fact about that is the past 7 winners of the best documentary at the Oscars actually debuted at True Falls Film Fest. And so that's a kind of cool opportunity as well. You can see some of the pictures. You're going to see hiking trails, biking trails. We do sit close to Missouri River as well. So if you're an outdoorsy person, you're going to have that. But again, you do have this urban setting of downtown. When you exit downtown to the south, you can walk through the archway of the School of Journalism, pictured here. And this is the portal into campus. And so you're standing on the downtown side of the archway, and just on the other side, you can get a glimpse of our Register Botanical Garden. We love our traditions on campus, and there's one actually tied to this archway. Supposedly back in the day, there were 2 students that were walking through the archway, and they were bragging about cheating on an exam. And there is an office window just above this archway, and supposedly that window was open. The professor heard the students bragging about cheating on the exam, and they flunked that exam, obviously. So now the tradition is when students walk through the archway, they do not speak. They will walk through the archway silently, just to honor that tradition of not failing that next exam. So when you get into our campus, you will see that Register Botanical Garden campus, 6,000 trees, 1,200 acres. It is a land grant and AAU institution campus. What's that mean is that when you typically think of those 2 different missions, you can think of Michigan and Michigan State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, the list goes on. We're both of those. And so we are the AAU institution where we are having medicine and law and PhD degrees and high-powered research on our campus, but we're also the land grant. So we're here to service the citizens of Missouri. So you see programs like agriculture and vet med. So we are one of 7 campuses in the entire country that service both the land grant and the AAU institution. Yes, there is a Missouri State University in Springfield, but that's my name only. We are the actual land grant. Students come to our campus from all counties in Missouri, as well as all 50 states, more than 120 countries. So it is a very geographically diverse campus where students are coming from. So I think that adds a lot of value to the classroom experience. And this fall, we have more than 30,000 students at the undergraduate and graduate level on our campus. When you continue south through campus, you are going to run into our Health Science Center. So this is a bit different from other campuses you may be considering, where our health campus is actually on our academic campus. Pictured here, you see the Ellis Fischall Hospital. That is the blue glass building. And then next to it is our trauma center, the University Hospital. Behind that, you have the mental health. You also have the School of Nursing, the School of Medicine. In front of you here, you have the VA Hospital, as well as the orthopedic clinic, and we have a women's children's hospital as well. So if you are pre-med, nursing, or health professions, physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of those allied health areas, you are going to practice on our campus all 4 years as well. As you continue south from that, you are actually in our sports park now. So we are home of 20 Division I sports in the SEC, and you can see off in the distance, that is the University Hospital. So I've literally walked you from downtown through campus to the south end of campus, where you can participate as an athletic fan. At Mizzou, you can actually have an all sports pass for $150 for all 20 sports. So that guarantees you a spot in every football, men's basketball, women's soccer, volleyball, all of those matches. So again, we are the quintessential college-sized town where you're connected from downtown Columbia through our campus and then straight into our healthcare facility and then straight into the sports park. At this point, I am going to turn it over to UMKC.
Thank you, Aaron. So when talking about UMKC, it's very important to just express that UMKC, if you are not out in the city and you are not taking advantage of the city, the internships, the opportunities, you're not doing it right here at UMKC. So Kansas City is our campus. We're located in the heart of Kansas City. We have 2 campuses. One is downtown, connected to Truman Medical Center and Children's Mercy, and that is our Health Sciences campus. And then about 15 minutes south, right next to Nelson Atkins Museum and the Country Club Plaza, is our Volcker Campus. And most of our students are involved in internships across the city. We have world-class businesses that call Kansas City home. A few examples are Garmin, Burns McDonald, and Hallmark. Children's Mercy is known to be one of the best hospitals in the Midwest, and that's where our medical students and nursing students get to rotate through. The arts live here, so Kansas City was ranked #2 for Great American Cities for Creatives, and we have the second longest standing conservatory in the United States. We're ranked #1 for growth growth rate and for startups, which is huge with our Block School of Management that was very heavily influenced and supported by the late Henry Block of H&R Block. We're among top 20 cities hiring the most workers. So we have a lot of movement coming into Kansas City. We have a lot of new people coming, a lot of new opportunities. Our students are having a lot of success finding jobs after graduation because there are so many opportunities opening up. Probably the most importantly, if you ask anyone in Kansas City, is that we are home of the 2020 Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. So most people in Kansas City right now would tell you that that's the most important thing to know about Kansas City. We have a lot of pride in our city. This picture that you see is downtown lit up blue and gold for our Kansas City Roos during graduation this year. So our city, we're very close connected. Everything right now is lit up red for the Chiefs, but we like to be all involved and a very close-knit city, even though it's one of our larger cities. Can you hit next, please, Erin? And then for those of you who aren't as familiar with UMKC, this is our Volcker Campus here. So you're looking at our campus, you see the Nelson Atkins Museum there. In the distance, you see our Kansas City skyline. So a little bit about us, we're mid-sized university, around 16,000 students. We like to explain that as everywhere you go on campus, you'll see people that you know, but you also will have variety and meet new people every day. So very close-knit feel on campus. We have 125 plus majors. So we have a lot of different majors that our students will experiment with. A lot of our students will pick more than one major or multiple minors. I'm a UMKC grad. I ended up with 3 majors just, because I liked to play around and have a lot of involvement in this city, which opens a lot of doors as far as internships and major studies. Student to faculty ratio is 15:1. We have over 300 student organizations. Those are both going to be Greek life, multicultural groups, academic, recreational groups, a lot of ways to get connected. And then again, we have 2 campuses. We are NCAA Division I in our athletics. You can go ahead and hit next. And then our community is really the core of who we are and what the feeling is on campus. So a little bit about just our feel on campus. We do have an honors program for our academic elite, and then we have over 40% of our students will identify as students of color. We have students from all 50 states and over 85 countries represented. We have new and ever improving LGBTQ+ scholarships. And then we have about 1,300 students now that live on campus. A lot of our students will tell you the reason that they chose UMKC is because of the diversity and inclusivity on campus. Quote here from one of our students, Marcus: "I chose UMKC because of the overwhelming feeling of inclusivity I felt when I first stepped onto campus, and this is something I still admire to this day. I know personally I picked UMKC because when I stepped on campus, everybody made me feel like I had a place here. So even though we're in a big city, we still have that personal feel." And then you can go ahead and next. So this is our Hospital Hill campus. You can see Children's Mercy and Truman Medical Center there behind our School of Nursing and Pharmacy. And it looks like it cut off the slide a little bit at the bottom, but our tuition rates for undergrad tuition is there. So please reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm going to leave with a student quote: "The best thing about UMKC is the small college feel. By going to UMKC, you will feel like you know a lot of the student body just by walking around campus, and it gives a welcoming feel to it." So having the doors open to the entire city and having connections across the city while still having that really personal feel in the classroom and those personal relationships with your professors. And then I'm going to hand it over to Missouri S&T. Tyler?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler Johnson, and I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at Missouri S&T. I'm actually a Missouri S&T alum. So I graduated with 2 degrees, a degree in biology and a degree in history. So on this slide, there's some pictures of our campus, but I want to draw attention to 2 of them. So on the bottom left, what you see is actually a replica of Stonehenge. So we have a half-scale reconstruction on our campus of Stonehenge, and the rock was cut by water jet cutter equipment here at S&T. The other picture you see is a statue of St. Patrick. So St. Patrick is the patron saint of engineering, and quite a few of our students major in engineering, which is why we have him featured so prominently. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk with you more about our location. So you can see that Rolla is located in the south central part of the state. So we're right along I-44. We're about halfway between St. Louis, Missouri and Springfield, Missouri. And Rolla is a very safe, close-knit community. So we have that good blend of the small town charm, but then also having those amenities that you would find in a larger city. So we are a city of about 20,000. And our campus enrollment is just shy of 8,000 total students. So we're a small to mid-sized campus. The really great thing is with Rolla, because it is that small town, same with that campus, that you don't feel like you're getting lost. You feel like you're part of a community, but yet there are still those things available to you, like an Academy Sports or like a Kohl's or like a GameStop that you can go and check out. So on the next slide, we'll see how Missouri S&T stacks up. And so when you are thinking about location, right, one of the things that will be important is how safe, right, is the town, or how safe is the campus? Well, Missouri S&T was the only campus that was ranked in the top 25 in the nation. So for Missouri, for being a safe campus. And so that comes from the National Campus Safety Summit's Safe Campus List. And we actually moved up a spot. So we were 20th last year, or 19th this year. Something else to think about in location is the quality of the programs. So as an example, Missouri S&T on a national scale, we have been ranked 3rd in the nation for engineering. So especially for you students who are considering of studying engineering, I would highly encourage you to check S&T out. Something else that you will see on this slide would be on a national scale. Georgetown University ranked Missouri S&T as the #1 public university in the state for our annual return on investment. And I'll talk about that some more at the very end. But on the next slide, I wanted to cover with you some of our degree programs. So I've mentioned engineering a few different times. You can see that we offer 15 different kinds of undergraduate engineering. So it is a large offering for engineering programs at a single university in the country. But then also thinking about location, we have some engineering programs that you won't be able to find here in the state. You would have to go to the East or West Coast. So for some examples, our metallurgical engineering program is one of 7 in the nation. Our nuclear engineering program is the only one in the state of Missouri. And our engineering management degree was actually created at S&T and is only one of 6 in the country. So on the next slide, I wanted to show you as well what other degree offerings we had. So I mentioned that my 2 degrees were history and biology, and that's where you would find them here. You would also see that we offer degrees in other sciences, in applied mathematics and business. We have teacher certification, and we also have a total of 3 different computing degree options. So all the way from computer science to computer engineering. On the next slide, we're going to talk about some activities. So the campus itself has over 250 different clubs or activities or organizations. So, and there are things that range from a barbecuing club to a spelunking club to a humans versus zombies organization to a triathlon club. We have performing arts that students are able to get involved in, fraternities and sororities both for anyone interested in going Greek. We have Army and Air Force ROTC, but probably what we're best known for are those student design teams. So they're very hands-on. You get a lot of good practical experience that could help you get a job. And so some examples would be things like building a solar house, or building a Formula SAE car that you will take to industry judged competitions. So on the next slide, we're going to see some different recreational opportunities that are available because of our location. So just within Rolla itself, there are more than 25 public parks. And so within the city, it gives you a good opportunity to go and take your bike out on a trail or go for a run. There's a disc golf course just a few minutes away from the campus, but then easily within an hour's drive of Rolla, you'll see all of these opportunities being possible. So for students who are interested in going out on the waterways to kayak or to fish, you can do that. If you're interested in spelunking or rock climbing, you can also do that within our area. And so on my last slide, I wanted to cover with you just some student outcomes. So I mentioned that Georgetown study, but here I wanted to also connect it with the fact that we have one of the largest career fairs in the Midwest. So when you think about location, we've got the good opportunity of sending students both to Kansas City and St. Louis if they want to stay in state for co-ops or internships or full-time positions. But we had last year over 300 employers come to Rolla to hire students for those opportunities. And we've sent graduates on to big name companies too. So from here, I'm turning things over to David from UMSL.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. How's everybody doing out there? Thank you for hanging in there with us. So my name is David Wood. I am one of the admissions reps from UMSL as well. And I kind of like that I went last because we are a combination of all of these universities that you all just heard from. You get a little bit of both. We have a little bit of engineering for you guys. We have a little bit of business. We have that great diversity that everyone's looking for. So when you guys think about the different schools, don't think about us as different schools. We're kind of all in the same. We have a lot of similarities, especially when it comes to our practices, campus culture, things like that. So don't think about us again as like universities against each other. Just kind of think about, again, the location, and where you want to be. We do share, like I said, similar programs and similarities, but let's go ahead and jump into UMSL. We are one of the youngest out of the systems. 1963 is when we got started. So we are the largest public school in the St. Louis area. You do have a few private schools and a few smaller community colleges as well. Our campus used to be a golf course. So we have a great, big, beautiful campus. What you guys see right now is our Millennial Student Center. So we're over 470 acres of campus. We are split between Natural Bridge. If you're in the St. Louis area, have heard of Natural Bridge, we have our North and South campus. We have the only optometry school in the state of Missouri. So we're very proud of that optometry school. And when we're thinking about terms of size, we're about 16,500 students, very similar to UMKC. So like I said, we have a lot of similarities amongst the other schools in the system. So about that 18-to-1 faculty ratio, and then those great student class sizes, especially when you get into our honors college, it actually gets a little bit smaller than that. So you really get that attention that you need. Can you slide next for me, please, sir? And then you see the wonderful city of St. Louis. Like Tyler was explaining, sometimes some of their students come to St. Louis for internships and jobs. We have one of the greatest internship programs in the state, not just because of our school, but because of our location. St. Louis just has a lot to offer for students in the degrees that we offer. So when we're thinking about getting jobs and things like that, students are either moving on to grad school or landing their first job within 6 months at a 94% rate. So thinking about 16,000 students every year coming through the pipeline, about 94% of those are getting jobs or moving on to grad school. A lot of fun things to do in the St. Louis area, like our St. Louis City Zoo, our St. Louis City Museum as well. We are the home of the Blues. You know, we are the Stanley Cup champions. If you are a Blues fan, we also have our St. Louis Cardinals. You've got the wonderful Six Flags. And one thing that a lot of schools like UMKC talked about as well is the diversity. There's a lot of great places to eat around the St. Louis area, a lot of different clusters of cultures from countries and people from all over the world. That's one thing I noticed about UMSL as soon as I stepped foot on their campus, is just recognizing people from all over the world, being able to network and communicate with people that you may not get to do that at some of the other schools across the country or across the state. Go next for me, sir. Campus living. So we've got a couple different options for you here on campus. You do not have to share a room in any of our on-campus housing. You will get your own room no matter which side you choose. We have the traditional suite style where we have 4 bedrooms, and then we also have your own regular apartments. So if you want that real freshman community-like feel, you can go in our suites, or if you kind of want that more independent style of living, we have those campus apartments, and you can get those even as freshmen coming onto campus. Next, please, sir. So as the other schools talked about, there's a bunch of things to do on UMSL's campus as well. We've got about 14 different fraternities and sororities, 120 different student organizations. We are Division II in sports as well, so offering everything from basketball. We just got our cross country and track and field, swimming, baseball, soccer, tennis, golf. We have 3 swimming pools on campus that students can access. So you definitely have a lot of activity, especially with our rec center, intramural sports, and things like that, with rock climbing walls. So a lot of great things that we've been building over the past few years to make the student experience that much greater for you all. And then just recognizing special holidays and different cultures and things across campus throughout the year. And our student organizations definitely reflect that, whether it's academic, faith-based, multicultural, professional, or maybe you're just looking to do something for fun to kind of occupy some time. Go ahead, sir. In terms of tuition, we were awarded one of the most affordable colleges, kind of like UMKC. So if you're looking at our Missouri and Illinois residents hanging around that $11,000 for a full-time student, not including room and board, but when you do include that, still pretty reasonable amongst some of the other schools that you can find in some of the outer states and things like that. Next, please. And then just to note some of our top programs that UMSL is most proud of, criminal justice and criminology, it's really doing well. A lot of opportunity for students to get that experience while they're getting their degree. We really push internships and research when you first step foot on the UMSL's campus. We really want you guys to be prepared when you do step foot outside of our campus with that degree and you're ready to go get your first job. Definitely helping you with internships, interviewing skills, and things like that. Our business program is doing exceptionally well internationally, accredited along with the schools like Yale and Harvard when it comes to our business program. So a lot of different clubs and organizations within the business department as well to get that hands-on experience that you are looking for. We have a wonderful nursing program with a guaranteed clinical nursing track as well, as long as you have a 3.0 and a 24 on your ACT when coming out of high school. So a lot of great options for you guys when coming over to UMSL. And we do offer some engineering. So if you're just looking to come to the St. Louis area, we have a few different engineering programs, and we have a partnership with Washington University here in the city that helps fuel that program as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds while still being an UMSL student. So you definitely have that civil, electrical, and mechanical engineering partnership that we have with WashU that also gets those students. So we have jobs from Ameren to Boeing, Anheuser-Busch, all these different companies in the St. Louis area that are helping our engineering students land those jobs. And I think that is my last slide. So I'll go ahead and turn it back over. Thank you.
So just to kind of sum everything up here, location, all of our universities have similarities, all of our universities have differences. And when you're looking into colleges and where you should choose to go, things that you should look at location. What does location offer to you? What does a location offer to kind of what you want out of your college experience? Your major, obviously you want the college to have your major. How does your major perform in that city, and what kind of opportunities does the college present to you through that major? So go ahead, please ask questions. Sorry, someone just asked a question. So please go ahead and ask questions. We'd love to answer questions, but we just want everybody to kind of see the differences and similarities between, even if you stay within Missouri. I know I'm from St. Louis originally, so, and then I chose Kansas City because I needed in-state tuition, but I wanted to get far away. So that's a perfectly fine reason to look into a college, but do your research, ask questions, and kind of weigh what kind of feels right for you, your personality, your job goals, and your major goals. So please go ahead and ask questions of us. Anybody else on our panel have some, okay, here we go. Here's a great question, actually. What made you decide to pick your college? We'll start with that one. So I guess I'll start because I went to UMKC. You guys can all kind of give your own reasons. I chose UMKC, again, like I said, because I wanted to stay in a city. I knew I wanted to be connected to all the opportunities the city had to offer. And I wanted to go away from home. But at the same time, it was really just the feel when I got onto campus. The feel of knowing that it's kind of a close-knit community. I wasn't ready to be somewhere where I was going to be in large lecture classes. I wanted more of the small class feeling, but at the same time, the other college that I was kind of weighing UMKC against was a small college, a small private college. And when on those kind of campuses, the small campuses, you know, where you live, where you eat, where you are in class, you see the same people every day in all of those places. And I kind of liked that close-knit, but I decided to push myself and to go somewhere that has a little bit more variety. And I'm very glad that I did. But really the feel of the college was what I ultimately chose for. Anybody else? What made you pick your college?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll say that through my college search, I was careful in thinking, like, what was it like to be a student outside of the classroom or when class is not in session? So, you know, I grew up in Kansas City, so I wanted to be close to home, but not right around the corner. So I looked at Midwestern universities, large and small. You know, there are some campus visits that didn't go so well. I distinctly remember one small private campus that while there for the campus tour, it started sleeting and we got iced in a small town and there were no restaurants open and it just wasn't a good experience. And I distinctly remember marking that off my list because of that experience, which I think that made a little bit of sense for me because I need to have a little bit of action in my life. And then there were other campuses where I would visit and talk to students just on the side and ask what they do during the weekends. And I just wasn't getting the type of answers I was looking for. And so that kind of really pivoted my search as well. So I really do think after doing this for so long, the role of a campus visit is vitally important. And I know that's so difficult this year during the pandemic. You know, a lot of us are starting to open our campus back up to campus visitors slowly, but there's lots of virtual ways to see if the campus is a good fit as well. So I would really encourage you guys, if you get the opportunity to step foot on a campus, you're going to have a feeling in your tummy. I know as soon as I stepped out of the car and put my foot on the ground, I was like, yep, this is it. This is going to be my home for 4 years. So I really hope you get that opportunity. But again, if not, we've all really pivoted and done a lot of virtual things to make it a little bit easier for you if you're not able to visit a campus physically.
So I'll go ahead and share my experience. I'm kind of on the opposite end of both of those wonderful people. I did not do my homework on location when I first went to college. I kind of went where my track scholarship took me at first and didn't do my research on the school before I went there. And so that's why I really want to encourage you guys. I ended up transferring after my first year and coming back to Atlanta and then ultimately going to Kansas State University, which is similar to Mizzou. And so just understanding the location, what's important to you, making sure you know what you're getting into, because when you sign up for college, it's not always as easy as just withdrawing and going right back home. Sometimes you may have to stick it out for the rest of the semester, stick it out for the rest of the year. So it's very important to understand the environment in which you're going into and what that university has to offer, from as simple as places you like to eat, or places you like to get your hair cut, or places you like to go bowling or go to the movies and things like that. I've been in areas where there were one or none of those things. And so just having that comfort and comfortability when you're done with classes and in your free time and things like that. So you want to make sure the town provides you or city provides you with the things that you also like to do outside of school, because also, although school does take up a lot of time, you will have some free time to occupy as well. So you want to make sure you're doing something you enjoy, so you actually stay at the school that you start at.
And then I'll close out our discussion on what factors went into our college search. So again, I'm a Missouri S&T alumni, and the two big things that I was considering was location, but then also cost. So for me, I did not look at any schools outside of the state of Missouri. So I graduated from a Missouri high school. So location was key because I did want to stay closer or relatively close to home, right? Because I had two younger sisters, and I still wanted the chance to kind of see them as an older brother. But then costs also factored into it too, because I was looking at what kind of scholarships am I going to get. And so ultimately I was able to narrow my search down to Missouri S&T and another university in Missouri, but chose S&T for the biology degree because of the science natured aspect of the university.
And then another question, I'll answer this one really quick because I know the answer is the same for all of us. There's a question, in your personal opinion, do you prefer private or public when it comes to a college? This is a pretty biased panel to ask that question. So I will answer to say you need to make your own decision because there is a very different feel whenever you get on campuses that are private versus public. And so all of us on this panel will say public because we work for a public university and we're really passionate about the public education. But I would encourage you, because that was in my mind whenever I was looking at colleges. I was looking at UMKC and I was looking at a private university, and they were so different whenever you look at the experience that they give students. So there's no right answer. All of us are going to say public, but you need to kind of maybe look at both before you rule one over the other, because it's really going to depend on you and what you're most comfortable with. And our next question is, out of every good aspect of your city and your area, your location, what do you enjoy the most? Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and take that one. So like Kyler said, cost is really important when coming to college, when looking at scholarships, part-time jobs, work study, things like that. So I really enjoy St. Louis because it gives students an opportunity to do things at inexpensive prices or for free. There's a lot of wonderful things to do in the city. There's always events, cultural events, things like that going on all around the city. So I remember I was just on the phone with a student that was over in Kuwait with his family, and they were like, well, what things can I do that are going to relate to me being homesick? And there's all kinds of Middle Eastern restaurants and things like that around the St. Louis area, events being held all the time. So just really understanding and knowing that you can find a little bit of home somewhere in St. Louis and all that opportunity for students, which makes our campus so diverse.
I would say that I think Columbia is a really interesting melting pot where you see a lot of different, I guess, stereotypes collide in a good way. I distinctly remember there was a young man who came to us from Southern California last year for ag business management. So he was an agriculture student, and he was looking for some farming experience. And I hooked him up with a family farm in New Franklin, which is just outside of Columbia. So surrounded by row crops and livestock. And he was able to have this really great experience of what he wanted to do. And being a 6th-generation farmer, it just fell in line with what he wanted to do. That leads into his sophomore year. He's now living in a upscale high-rise apartment in downtown Columbia, where you wouldn't picture he, the ag guy, wearing his muddy cowboy boots into the apartment building doing that. So I really do enjoy that. Columbia is a very progressive town. It's very forward-thinking. You can be who you want to be, and you're going to find your rhythm, even if it's a rhythm that you have never thought that you would want. Until you get to college. And I think that's really important. You know, I think there's really fun, weird things about Columbia as well. 2 of the more popular Twitter accounts to follow are the Squirrels of Mizzou. So people will post pictures and captions about the really chubby squirrels that live on our campus. And then there is a big white dog named Harlan, who is a faculty member's dog that is really famous as well. And we're doing a lot of graphics with Harlan from the social distancing standpoint this fall. So it is kind of a whimsical, weird, fun, progressive place to grow as a human as well.
So what I would say, the thing that I like about Missouri S&T is the size of the campus. The fact that we are that smaller to mid-sized university made it really nice for me as a student to get to know faculty members. And so then when I went on to graduate school to get my master's, because as I progressed and got into those junior and then senior level courses where you had maybe just a dozen or so students, it meant I really got to know some select faculty, which was great for them writing letters of recommendation, because it wasn't just some generic like, oh yeah, Tyler is a good student. They were able to say specifics about me and, you know, talk about courses that I took with them and projects that I had done, things of that nature. So I would say in second place, it would be Slice of Pie for Rolla. So yes, if you come to campus for a visit, check out Slice of Pie.
Yeah, I sorely miss my yearly trip to Rolla where I raid Slice of Pie and help myself to as many pies as I want. So Kansas City, what do I enjoy most? I would say is also some of the things that I miss most right now. Right around, we're so close to everything right around campus. I miss just walking over to the Nelson Atkins Museum during lunch and hanging out and kind of just seeing and meeting people around the grounds. People are always outside, you know, enjoying that. I miss going to Chiefs games. I miss going to Royals games. Selfishly, we get to be involved with all the students. Our students, we have a group where it's literally their entire job on campus is to get students connected with events that are going on in the city. So they get a bus and we'll just bus students to the Royals games, to the Chiefs games, to First Fridays, which is a huge art gathering downtown. So I miss things like that. One of my favorite things when I was a student was I would walk to the Nelson Atkins Museum. I would walk to the Country Club Plaza. Not always great for your wallet, but my favorite places to eat and shop at the Country Club Plaza. And then there's a pizza shop that's right next to campus. Thankfully, the Whole Foods didn't come until after I had graduated, but we have a Whole Foods on campus now, which is awesome. But really the stuff that I love the most is just the interaction and how quick you can get to anything in the city. And I guess I'm gonna say I'm spoiled because I still live very close to campus. I live 5 minutes from campus. And if I have to drive more than 15 minutes to get anywhere, I feel like really that's so far. Like, why do I have to? So if I have to go more than 15 minutes in any direction for anything that I do, I feel like it's far because I'm so close to absolutely everything I would need to do and be involved in. So those are the things that I love the most and things that I miss the most. Conservatory presentations. Our conservatory has gotten very creative. They're now singing in our parking garages because the acoustics are fantastic. So love to go outside and hear our conservatory practicing in our parking garage. So a lot of really unique things that we can still appreciate and love about the location. Also a lot of things that I miss being involved in from a pandemic perspective.
I saw there was a new question came in about changing majors or choosing a major and kind of the anxiety by that. So real quick, just at Mizzou, and you guys step in if your answer is any different than mine. It's very easy to change your major. So you would pick an intended major coming in to Mizzou or most universities. At Mizzou, you can actually change your major on your own, your freshman, sophomore year online. It's that simple. So I always tell students, at Mizzou, don't worry about your major. If it's a good financial fit, good social fit, everything else just feels right. There's 300 to pick from, and you have your freshman and sophomore year to really explore if you're in the right one or if you want to switch and go somewhere else.
Yeah, very similar. At UMKC, we actually have a major for that. So we have University College. It's for our exploratory students, and they have specific programs and classes that help you explore different majors while still staying on track for graduation. So people change their major. I did it 3 times, so it happens. Don't stress out about it.
Okay, so we are right at 6:45 here, or I should, yeah, 6:45. So I just want to put up one more slide to thank everybody for participating. There is a quick survey you're going to see when this window closes, and it's a quick 4-question survey to let us know how we're doing. As we mentioned before, sign up for the more sessions at moacac.org, and more importantly than that, all these recordings will be available on that same website. So look at these websites if you want to double back and check these. So thanks very much for attending this, and hope you had a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.